At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Challenge accepted!
Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. I am one of your hosts, Professor Chris G. And on the other line with me is my Pokemon trading card buddy. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, my man, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. Feeling like I should try to turn this house over one of these days, see if I can track down my binders.
If you find them, I got some Pokemon cards over here and I'll trade you.
Yeah, I mean, but if I can find them is the big thing.
So, as everybody knows, because you clicked onto this episode, this is a special episode. We've kind of alluded to this on previous episodes. Wasn't sure if we were going to take the plunge, but we decided kind of last minute, we're like, you know what? Screw it. We'll go ahead and take the plunge, and we'll watch these 4 episodes and put it into one podcast here for you in an enhanced version. Right?
I was just seeing how far you were going to go. I mean, you could edit the audio effect to do that. You don't actually have to do that yourself.
I mean, yeah, I could, but I mean, that's just extra work.
I see.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, for real.
But they are listening to this in an enhanced version.
The joke doesn't work the first time. Just hammer it again.
Yes, everybody. Whether you are listening to this on the free feed or you are listening to this on Patreon, we are giving everybody a taste of what you can be getting on a weekly basis over on Patreon. And this episode should hook you. Right, Doug?
It should. I mean, goodness sakes, if you're not on the Patreon, you're missing out on a lot of
content.
Quality audio content.
Quality.
I'm not going to acknowledge it.
You might one of these days. You're acknowledging it by saying you're not going to acknowledge it. Just so you know.
No, that's called not wanting dead air.
No. You acknowledged it. Everybody, Doug acknowledged me.
You know what? Next time you do it, I'm just not going to say anything. And when there's 30 seconds of dead air, that's on you.
All right, everybody. So, just like I said, you clicked on this. You know what we're doing. Today, we are going over Pokemon Path to the Peak, a special YouTube and Pokemon.com special, 4-part special of 10-minute long episodes about a Pokemon card trainer, Ava, and her adventures to maybe becoming a champion. Or maybe not. We will have to watch this and find out. But what's good about this is it's completely free. All you need is an internet connection, and it is free, and it's up on the Pokemon YouTube page. I mean, I can't tell you how long it's going to be on Pokemon.com because they switch things up all the time. But I'm gonna guess this is up on YouTube forever because they tend to not take things down on the Pokemon channel on YouTube. So
they just get stuff taken down.
Yeah, I know. So go on on YouTube, type in Pokemon Path to the Peak, and you can follow us because that's literally how we're going to be watching this. I don't know about you, Doug. I'm watching the Pokemon.com version of this.
So am I.
Okay. Just for podcast, because it's easier to go from episode to episode because it automatically goes, and we're just going to steamroll through this, everybody. So we're going to go episode after episode. We're not really, and I'm going to save our star rating for the very end of the episode. I think that's kind of best. Do you agree, Doug?
Well, yeah, no, because
okay, because I don't feel. I mean, maybe at the very end we can rate them individually and then give it an overall rating. Maybe we can do that. Actually, yeah, let's do that.
That would probably be best in terms of like having hindsight.
Yes. So, but this is very easy to watch. It is for all ages. There's nothing bad in the episodes. The episodes does have a lot of montages. You're going to hear a little bit of audio from the episode. I might pipe in some of the montage music audio as we're going through some of this, so you can get that enhanced experience here. But for the most part, there's a little bit of talking, a little bit of montage, a lot of music, and we're gonna have fun here because this is gonna be a different type of episode that you're getting this week. So it has nothing to do with Ash, has nothing to do with Go, or any of the characters that we have ever experienced here on Pokemon. These are fresh characters.
Right.
And I'm going to go ahead, and this is taken straight from Bulbapedia. I'm going to give kind of an insight here. It says that this series premiered on YouTube on August 11th, 2023, during the week of the 2023 Pokemon World Championships. A screening of the entire 4-episode series was also held at the championship itself. So people that were at the championships got to watch this first and got to watch it in its entirety if they wanted to. And then afterwards, it was placed up on YouTube, I believe on a weekly basis. Let me go.
Yes, let me check that.
Yeah, it was uploaded every 5 days. So the first episode was August 11th. The second one was August 16th. The third was August 23rd. And the fourth was August 30th. And that's the...
Once a week.
Yes.
Well, except there's a short gap between 1 and 2, but then 3 and then 2, 3, and 4 follow a week after.
Yes. Yeah. And in Japan, it was released. Oh, we actually got it before Japan did. Look at that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. In Japan, it was released on August 14th, August 18th, August 25th, and September 1st. So we got the first episode 3 days before Japan, second episode 2 days before Japan, third episode 2 days before Japan, and fourth episode 2 days before Japan. So yeah, I mean, and that normally does not, it's normally the complete opposite. So, and I don't know about you, Doug. I think we're on board for getting ready for another Poke break, because there is some news that has come out, and I will talk to you off air, but I believe we're on board to be doing another Poke break episode within the next 1 to 2 weeks. And one of the topics that we can talk about is how Japan is getting its own, I believe within the next few weeks, they're getting their televised version of a live action Pokemon show out there.
A drama, it seems like.
Yeah. So I'm real interested in that. I hope someone is nice enough to put some subtitles up because I'm very interested to see how this series is put together. And I would love to watch the first 1 or 2 episodes, however they're dropping it. But we do have some news on that as well. So that is coming on a future Poke Break. Be on the lookout for that in the next week or so, everybody. So, outside of that, Doug, do you have anything that you would like to add, or did you want to talk about your experience with the Pokemon trading card game before we jump into the episode?
I never really played the game. I just was mainly into collecting the cards.
Okay. Did you have the Game Boy game of the Pokemon trading card game? No. Okay.
No.
Okay. So it was strictly just collecting the cards. Did you trade with your brother when you were little when it came to the trading card game, or was it just, these are my cards, I'm going to put them in a nice sleeve and I'm going to store them away?
It was definitely, I'm going to collect the cards and I'm gonna group them by evolution. I'm gonna try to have them in as much of an order as I can in terms of the original, 150 and then so on. I want to believe like there was trading if there was duplicates involved. It was kind of like at a point I feel like we were kind of collecting cards together because it was like if there was 2 of us, it was a greater chance that we would stumble on, a card we needed or, whatever. I feel like we tried to play the game properly a few times, but I think that came down to like either a lack of understanding or a lack of patience, possibly a combination of both.
Okay. But
yeah, it was definitely, the sensation of ripping the packs and be like, oh, I got this one. And I've, like, oh, I needed a Raichu or, whatever. And then, you run to the binder and you find Pikachu and you put Raichu behind it or in front of it, depending on how you operated.
And me, and this is how I was, and I didn't know about like dividing it up by like different series. Like there's Pokemon card trainers that they buy a binder per different type of Pokemon card. Like I'm just going to give an example. Like you have like the first generation, then you had like the fossils, then you had like Team Rocket. For me, if I had a Pikachu from Team Rocket and I had a Pikachu from the first series, those Pikachus are going next to each other in a binder when I was real little. So,
right.
So I would have my Pokemon cards all arranged by like from number 1 all the way to 151. Now, what made me mad was that I would have all these cards and then I'm just going to say, I got a new Pikachu. And all my cards are set up. So now I have to go and move every single card over one slot to fit to fit this Pikachu in. And that's just the way that I thought when I was little. And I remember having to do that and I hated it so much. Or you get so many of one card and you're trying to fit them all in the sleeve, and then the sleeve gets too fat and you can't fit no more cards in there. Like that's the way that I used to think as a child. And it's just funny to think back on it now. Like, why didn't I just do something different? So,
that comes down to having the benefit of hindsight. You're like, this is a pain in the ass and it didn't have to be like this.
Yeah. It really didn't, but that's the way I thought, and that's the way it ended up working out. But man, I mean, sometimes I wonder about myself from when I was a kid. But I, for real, like why did I make it so complicated? So, But yeah, I would trade with my friends, and we would have a ball. And yeah, I had the Game Boy game when I was growing up. Not only did I have that, I had a computer version for PC on a nice little disc, and I would play it, and it would be fun. And my dad took me to 2 tournaments, and I got my butt kicked, and I got discouraged and never went back to a tournament because it's little old like 9 or 10-year-old me playing in this tournament against like 16, 17-year-olds that know how to play this. So
you know what? That's fucked up. I'm just gonna say it. There should have been a juniors division.
This was this was the 90s, bro.
I know. That's still messed up.
For real. But yeah, that's my experience, and it's all good. We all learned. So, but are you ready to jump into these episodes?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and get these up here. And I am ready. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. I'm clicking play, everybody. All right. And we're at Pokemon Path to the Peak. And the first episode is titled The Club. And we start this episode, and it looks like we're leaving a house, and there's a little girl who looks sad. And the car is driving off, and the little girl is looking at what looks to be her iPad.
What a beautiful day. All right, kiddo, ready for a new adventure?
Thrilled.
All right, let's go.
And we get like a small montage. It looks like they're driving literally across the country to a new spot. And they pull up to their new home. And if this is not me to a T, Dad opens the door. Mom isn't carrying a damn thing. And he's like, yeah.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. No, wait a minute. I won't stand for this slander. I won't stand for you being sexist right off the bat. She's got a box in her hand.
That little tiny thing, that is not carrying anything.
Motherfucker, you said she wasn't carrying anything.
That might have a spoon in it, as small as that thing is. She brought a spoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to direct your hate mail to.
I am not being sexist. I'm just saying she wasn't carrying anything. So the dad has his arms full. He's like, "Yeah, welcome home." And the mom is like, she's like, "Careful. Those are all of our dishes." And the dad, he's like, "Yeah, I'm putting them in the living room." And the mom is on the phone and she's like, "Yeah, give me a second. I'll have to call you right back." Little girl is walking into what looks to be like the kitchen area, and she sees a box on the floor, and it has Pokemon stickers all over it. And the mom walks up and she's like, "Hey, honey, can you go and put that over into the donation pile, please?" And the little girl, she's like, "Well, what is it?" And the mom's like, "Oh, nothing. Just some old stuff that I don't need." And you hear the dad in the background, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do takeout tonight." And the mom just looks like she's over it. She's like,
dish.
And the little girl opens the small box, and it has some cards in there along with some Pokemon cards along with some hit points and some different things that you would need for a Pokemon deck.
Honey, Can you put that in the donation pile?
Well, what is it?
Oh, nothing. Just some old stuff I don't need anymore.
And we fast forward. They did end up getting some Chinese takeout. So, their containers are all over the place. Mom fell asleep on the couch, and the little girl is. What's up?
Filthy.
Yeah.
You're gonna get fucking ants.
I know.
Your new house.
I know. Brand new house. How can you do that? How dare they, Doug?
I'm serious.
Are you telling me that you've never fallen asleep with like takeout or food that you've gotten, or do you always throw your stuff away right away?
Who the fuck are you talking to?
Yeah, I am talking to you. Yeah, you clean up. I would be lying to you if I told you that I have not fallen asleep in this exact position once or twice in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know as well as I do, you know, you can't really fuck around where I'm at because you get ants like nobody's business.
Oh yeah, you get them over here too. They're like,
oh yeah.
So let's see. All right. But the little girl, and we're gonna call her Ava, because we already know her name. But you won't.
We're gonna call her Ava.
Well, I mean, we know her name from the description that I read earlier. That's what the little girl's name is. But we haven't been
true, I guess.
We haven't been introduced to her name yet in the series. But
oh, that's fair. That's fair.
But Ava is sitting at their. They have a big sliding door for their to go into their backyard. I mean, this thing is huge. Like dad and mom are on the come up in this house. I'm just gonna say, but the dad walks over because Ava's sitting on the ground and she's looking outside. It's raining and Ava's a little disgruntled, and dad's like, "Man, hey kiddo, looks like the storm is starting to let up." And she doesn't say anything, and the dad kind of reaches around and pats her on the back. They lean up and they cuddle up against each other. And he's like, "I know it's tough moving to a new place, but just think of it as a new start."
I know it's tough moving to a new place, but think of it as a new start. You can try new things, make new friends, and eventually you'll find your place.
I guess so.
School calendar says it's club week. Perfect time to try something new.
A new start.
And Doug, I'm going to switch this over to you because we're switching scenes and we are now in school.
She's walking in and she's bright-eyed and she's walking past the different clubs. So we see B Club, which no thank you. We see Archery Club, which fucking dangerous. We see Baking Club, which gets taken over by the bees. The bees literally pick up a cake.
Well, you kind of missed it. So she's trying to go into all of these clubs. So she's in the bee outfit, but she kind of makes a mess of everything, and she sets the bees off, which is where the bees end up just going flying around.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good catch. I did catch that she was the one that shot her arrow straight up in the air, which is extremely dangerous.
Yes.
So she watches as her cake gets picked up and taken away by a swarm of bees, and then we're into the cafeteria, and she's kind of sitting around like, all right, I've kind of haven't made the best first impression, but, you know, I'm going to kind of figure this out because I'm going to be here for a couple years. She kind of fuck, and she goes off on her own, like her own little section of the cafeteria, and she's just kind of sitting there like, son of a bitch. And
well, because
she looks on her.
Everyone's mad at her inside of the cafeteria. Everyone's giving her the mean eye because she messed up all of their clubs.
Well, but you fucking pick yourself up and dust yourself off. Ain't no sense in holding a grudge in freaking elementary school.
I mean, who are you talking? These are elementary kids. All they do are hold grudges.
Anymore, these kids have the attention spans of gnats with all their freaking iPads and shit. So she's sitting there and she notices some Pikachu origami on her cafeteria tray. She looks at the bottom and it says TM10. And she's like, huh. And we cut to later in the day of a room, and somebody has taped over a TM10 sign on the door, and she goes to open the door, and this dude just jumps out and he goes,
Challenge accepted!
What?
Pokemon! This is the Pokemon Club. You got my note? About Pokemon?
You all play together?
Of course, we're all friends here. All you need is a deck.
And just to clarify, because it never really gets said what his name is, but the boy's name is Joshua. So the boy that
I thought he introduced himself later on, but I mean, we might be sitting here for a couple minutes before he does it.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I just didn't want to just say that the boy. So I mean, yeah, his.
I mean, we could start calling him the black guy.
Yeah, the black boy. But yeah, his name is Joshua. And honestly, I didn't even catch that right away either. I'm on Bulbapedia right this very moment just so I could have the characters' names, and yeah, that's his name.
And she takes off and she runs home and she runs past the dad. The dad's like, "Oh, how was your first day?" And, obviously she's like going on a mission. And she goes and she grabs the box that she was looking at last night. And she runs back out the door. And she bolts back into the club room and she's like, "Let's go." And Joshua's sitting at his desk and he's like, "Ah, you brought your own deck." And he's like, "Oh, these cards are retro. Very nice." And he's kind of scrolling through, and we see a Scyther on the top, and we see some energies, and Ava sits down across from him, and he's like, "I can use my own deck too." He's like, "Do you know how to play?" And Ava's kind of sitting down, and she's like, "Well, not really." And Joshua's like, "Oh, you're in good hands." And he kind of goes through the rules of the game.
Start with a 60-card deck. Draw 7 cards. On the field, you have 1 active Pokemon and 6 prize cards, plus bench Pokemon. Attach energy and evolve. If you knock out their Pokemon, you claim a prize card. Once you have all 6 prize cards or they have no Pokemon left on the field, you win! I'll start again.
And Ava is just looking, and she's like, and Joshua's like, "You know what? I'll start again." And she's like, No. I got it. Let's play. And you know what I might end up doing? I think I'm gonna pipe in his funny description, because he literally goes over the instructions in literally 5 seconds. So it's literally 5 seconds, and he gets through all of the instructions, and he expects her to know how to play this game now.
He does introduce himself. 4 minutes in, he does introduce himself.
Yes. I'm Joshua. So...
Because she cuts him off. She's like, "I'm Ava." And he's like, "I'm Joshua."
So, all right, Doug, you can go ahead and finish this scene off. And they are about to have their Pokemon card battle.
Yes. So they introduce themselves and they flip a coin, and you see Ava is kind of having trouble even holding her cards, which I've never been able to fan my cards out either, to be fair, nor have I really become like a shuffler.
I can barely do it too.
I've always been envious of people that can cut a deck in half and put them together like that without them going fucking everywhere.
But you ruin your cards that way. In my eyes,
I'm saying
you're like bending your cards when you do that.
Yeah, I'm saying, and I'm talking any cards. I'm talking, regular playing cards, Pokemon cards.
For real.
I don't know why you would shuffle baseball cards, but baseball cards. Ava's kind of going through, her steps in her head, and she's like, I bring out my Pokemon, I attach my energy. And Joshua's like, you're getting the hang of it. And people are starting to crowd around, and he's like, I place another energy on Scyther, and I use Slash. And Joshua's like, oh man, you knocked out my Pikachu. That means, and Ava's like, so that means I get a prize card. And, and Joshua's like, all right, is that it? And she's like, yeah. And then
Evolutionary Thunder, Evolve on Bench, Delta Charge, Scoop Up, Heads, Evolve Final Eevee, 3 Poke Power Knockouts, Attach, Swing for Game, and I win.
And the whole crowd just starts applauding, and Ava's just like, what?
She's just sitting there like, what in the heck just happened?
Like, this boy just took her to town like nothing, like nobody's business. It was hilarious.
Didn't even blink. So we smash cut from Ava looking shocked at the table in the club to her kicking the door open, and she's got the and I kicking the door, I mean like at her house, and she's muttering to herself. She's like, they make you think you're so good and you actually stink. And she's
like, I'm Joshua. Let's play Pokemon. I'll make you think you're good, but you actually stink.
And she's stomping through the house, and we see her. She's at the side of the house, and she's about to dump her whole box into a recycling bin, which is, at least it's environmentally conscious because that's paper. And her dad pops around the corner, and he's like, what you doing? And she's like, she turns on him like in a heartbeat, and she's like, I did what you said. I tried something new, and and she's like, my cake got ruined. I'm no good at archery. I have a bee sting on my, and she stops herself, and she's like, not to place your time. And she's like, I was in this Pokemon club, and I played my first game, and I lost my first game in front of everybody. And her dad, is kind of like, well, I used to get beat every time I played that game.
Until I discovered a secret.
She's like, tell me the secret. And she grabs him by the collar. And then we cut to them in the basement, and they've got like a little table, and freaking Ava's sitting there with an Oddish, and Dad's like, all right, for now the secret. Now you close your eyes and imagine Oddish is your Pokemon, your friend, always with you no matter what, growing stronger together. And as he's saying this, she's imagining an Oddish is actually come to life and is running around the basement. And he's like, I would always picture the battles in my mind as I was playing. And he's like, sometimes I would win.
He said I would always imagine the Pokemon in my head, and sometimes I would even win. And it's at that point Ava gets determined, and we literally switch from that. So it's a lot of jump scenes, everybody, because these episodes are only 10 minutes long. So we jump from that. Ava is determined, and she kicks in the club room door for the TM 10 club, just like she did at home. Door opens, and she's like, rematch? And then Joshua's like, challenge accepted! And everyone crowds around.
Homie needs to take it down a couple notches.
So the whole crowd is standing around her, and she starts shuffling her deck, and they both pick their Pokemon cards, and she remembers what her dad said. I'd picture the battles in my mind. And she imagines a fake stadium with all these cheering spectators. A Scyther is on the field and walks in Oddish, and Oddish is just walking in. And you hear Joshua go, looks like your Oddish is against my Eevee. And you're up first, Ava. And she draws a card. She sees an energy. She's like, huh? Okay. And then she imagines that the card is like blasting out a whole bunch of energy onto her face.
Whoa! Joshua, are you seeing this?
No?
Never mind.
And she's like, okay, never mind. Because I have an energy card and I'm going to power up my Oddish. And she puts the energy over on Oddish. Oddish gets powered up and does Razor Leaf on Eevee. And Joshua's like, that was nice, but can you handle this? And he's like, I bring out 3 bench Pokemon. Zap, zap, zap. And he brings out his Dratini and Eevee and Beldum. And he has Dratini, Eevee, and Beldum out onto the field. And he evolves his Eevee into Jolteon, and his Jolteon is a nice little foil card, and they make note of that. And Ava's like, man, is that a foil? That's awesome. And Josh was like, I know, right? And they continue to battle, and we kind of jump scene, and Jolteon is going in for the final blow on Oddish, and Ava is looking discouraged again, and Joshua's like, all right, so what is, it's down to your last Pokemon, Ava. What's your move? And she's looking at her cards. She's looking around. She closes her eyes, and she's like, you know what? And she imagines herself laying down in grass, and she imagines all of her cards that are in her hand that is surrounding her. She's like, no, I don't want that card. No, not that one. Nope. And she's looking around, and she stumbles upon that one card. And she's looking at Eevee. And her and Eevee are intertwined with each other. And Eevee is like,
Oddish.
Oddish. Oddish is like, you can do it. And she's like, I got it. I power up Oddish with Defiance Band. Go Oddish. And Joshua's like, what? And Defiance Band goes around Oddish's neck or Oddish's head. And Oddish does Razor Leaf. Jolteon takes a big old hit, and not only does it take a hit, but the rest of the Pokemon takes a hit. She takes the rest of her prize cards, and Joshua's like, whoa, she straight up destroyed me, yo. And
he okay, all right, for anybody that's not paying attention or watching along with us, for Joshua's sake, he did not say yo. He might as well have. Oh, poor kid.
I know. But you can totally see him saying the yo part, right?
For real.
But the crowd just starts cheering around Ava, and Ava won. And then we go into a montage of her facing every single person in the Pokemon trading card game club. And Ava's like, all right, who's next? And Josh was like, no one. You beat all of us. And then one of the girls goes, with an oddish. And then Josh was like, here, catch. And it's a Pikachu coin. And they're all holding up their Pikachu coins. And Josh was like, you're in the club. And she's like, I'm in the club? And then she just walks out of the room.
She just walks out.
just stone-faced and like a zombie. And everyone's like, okay. And she just parades around. She's like, yeah, I'm in the club. I'm in the club. And there's some music playing in her head. And she's dancing. And then we go back to what the kids are seeing on the other side of the door through the glass window. And it's just Ava just shaking her butt and just dancing, having a good old time. And she's like, uh-huh. And then all of a sudden we see some black boots come into the frame. And then we have a little girl that she's walking up. And she's like, so the new girl can play. She's like, but how would you do in a real competition with championship points on the line? And Ava's like, and the other girl is like, nice dance moves. And Joshua walks out and Ava's like, who was that? And Josh was like, that's Celestine, the best Pokemon trading card player in the school. And Ava's like, but what was she talking about? And Josh was like, regionals. And that is how we end the first episode before we go into the next one. So, good episode, right?
Nice cliffhanger at the time. Oh, regionals. Like, we're not wasting time. I mean, come to find out, obviously there's only 4 episodes, so you couldn't really dick around too much.
But yeah, everybody. So I'm going to get ready to click the second episode. If you guys want to go ahead and get the second episode up. And Doug, since I just did the last scene, I am going to have you start off on, let's see, I'm going to have you start off this episode.
Right. So episode number 2 is entitled Regionals, which, makes sense. We get the same little opening we got, and get the title, and we are in a forest, and we have Ava, and she's kind of looking around, and she's walking forward, and she's not really sure, what she's doing. And she's looking for Oddish, and she steps on tree Pokemon.
Yes, the Pokemon that she steps on is, I believe it's called a...
Trevenant kind of stands up and is like, you stepped on my foot, and kind of walks away, kind of muttering. And then we see Oddish is kind of cowering and is frightened. He's like, are you okay? And we see Oddish kind of look over her shoulder and is like, oh, look out. And we see 3 Duskulls. Dave was like, oh my god. And she takes off running, and the Duskulls chase after her. She's like, oh my god, what the fuck? and the Duskulls trip her because they don't play fair. And out of the Duskulls kind of start circling, and out of the circle comes like purple light, and then the light reveals itself to be Celestine. That's when she kind of wakes up and she's like, Celestine!
Yeah.
And she's got a Pokemon card stuck to her cheek.
Yeah, and the way that she was coming down, I just want to make note of this. She was coming down as a ghost form of Miss Magius, which is a ghost Pokemon.
I knew it was a Pokemon, but I knew in the moment I couldn't place it, and I wasn't trying to.
You're good. That's what we're here for. We're here to help each other.
And we see that it was a dream, and we see that she's in her room, and it's a nice sunny day, and she's got like an oddish stuffy on her bed, and her room is kind of messy, but that's just me. I understand she just moved, but come on. And she's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh shit, hey, yeah. And she's like, oh, I must have fallen asleep building a new desk. And then she sees the Pokemon card on her cheek, and she's like, oh, and it's all covered in spittle. And then, this is where I would have lost it. Because, she's just recovering. She's wiping drool off her chin. And here comes Joshua kicking her door in.
Ava! It's Regionals Day! Let's go!
Joshua? How'd you get up here?
Your dad told me to get you. Ready to wipe the floor with Celestine today?
I don't know. Maybe I should back out.
Back out? No. You are the most talented rookie our club has ever seen. Plus, you've got me as your coach.
And she's like, are we not going to talk about how my dad just let a strange boy into my room? She didn't say that, but I thought it. And she's kind of being sheepish. She's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I should, back out. And Joshua's like, no, we're not doing that, son. You're the most talented rookie in the club. He's like, and you got me as your coach. And Ava's like, son of a bitch. And she's kind of like doubting herself. And Joshua pulls the most obvious reverse psychology trick in the book. And he's like, well, no one's ever beaten Celestine before. And we really thought you could be the one. He's like, no, but I understand if Celestine intimidates you. And Ava's kind of sitting up, and she kind of gets determined, and she's like, I'll do it. And Joshua's like, my man. And he's like, now come on, everyone's waiting for you downstairs. And she's like, everyone? And Joshua opens the door, and there's like a little mini fan club from the Pokemon Club, and a couple kids have signs, and they're all cheering, Ava, Ava. And her dad is back in the car in the background, and all of a sudden, here's Mom for the first time since she was asleep with her Chinese food in episode 1. She's like, oh, it looks like all your club friends are here to support you. And she's like, are you sure you can do this? And did she say that, or did she say no? She said, are you sure you want to do this? And she's a little trepidatious for her. And Ava's like, yep. And she's got her head held high. And she's like, okay, good, because I packed your bag. And she's like, I got a scarf, jacket, snacks, water bottle.
And she's like, I got
oh,
baby powder for your rashes.
And Ava's like, no, seriously, I'll be all right. It's only 15 minutes. Like, I could honestly walk. And crowd still cheering. And Mom kind of gets shifty, and she's like, there's something you should know. And, Dad's in a car, and she's like, oh, never mind. Good luck, sweetie. And, she gives her a hug. And the crowd of kids is chasing after the car. One kid falls down because, kids falling down is funny.
She has a fan base now.
She's coming up in the world.
I know her. And everyone wants everyone to know it. So she's the most popular girl in the streets now.
And she runs the streets.
So, all right. Let me. So they leave the house. They are at this convention center. And Joshua is just having a ball. He's like, man, the regionals. These are all the best players with the strongest deck. And you brought Oddish? She's like, yeah, what about it? And he's like, check it out.
Strong meta deck, top tier. A lot of people gonna be playing this.
I like Oddish.
Going rogue, huh? No one will expect it, especially Celestine. Welcome to Regionals.
Trainers, sign up for Build and Battle at the side event table. Don't know a Buzzwole from a Pokemon? Come to the Play Lab for a Pokemon professional.
Literally, it looks like about 200 tables that have a whole bunch of people just playing Pokemon trading card game. And the announcer is like, trainers, sign up for the Build and Battle at the side event table. And we get a little montage of all these kids playing the Pokemon trading card game. And we get like a little montage of what the final stage looks like, the gift shop, and it looks like Ava spots a Oddish toy over in the gift shop. And then she goes over to give it a hug and to pick it up. And all of a sudden you hear Oddish. And she's like, so she actually showed up, and it's Celestine. And she's like, new girl's braver than she looks. And she's like, you should have stayed home, because if you play against me, my power deck will rip the stuffing out of your little Oddish. And Celestine just walks away. Ava's like, whatever. And Joshua looks over. He's like, hey, let's go find our spots, Ava. So they walk into the room where everyone's playing their Pokemon games. And it looks like Ava is going over to table 43. And she's like, all right, here we are. And her dad is like, all right. He's like, just so you know, I'll be right over here cheering you on, okay? And all of a sudden the dad sees a Pikachu hat, and he's like, wait a minute, no, is that a Pikachu hat? And he just runs away. And this little boy just sits down, and Ava is like, oh, hi. The little boy's like, hi, I'm Tonio. And Ava's like, this is my first regionals. And he's like, oh, you got nothing to worry about.
Hi, I'm Tonio.
I'm Ava. It's my first regionals.
You got nothing to worry about. At my first regionals, I was so nervous, I almost threw up. Actually, I did throw up. Anyway, call it.
Heads. No, tails. Wait, heads. Tails. Definitely tails. I mean, heads.
Tails.
And she's like, crap. They start the battle. I'm not going to go frame by frame because we'll be here all day. But they start battling, and Ava gets into the zone, and she's playing her Pokemon cards, and we find out that she ended up winning her first battle. And then she looks down, and Tonio's like, man, not bad for your first regional. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to puke.
He's trying to be all smooth.
And Ava's like, all right, take care. Good game. Yes, I won. And Joshua walks over. He's like, great, but we have a situation. And he brings Ava over to a table, and Celestine is playing her father, who went and bought the Pikachu hat that he saw.
Well, of course.
And her dad looks over at Ava and says, hey, kiddo, your friend invited me to play around. And Celestine is playing the game, and Ava's like, she's not my friend, Dad. She's only doing this. And Celestine's like, relax, we're just having fun. And the dad's like, imagine my Pokemon. Imagine my Pokemon. And Celestine is like, I hope your dad's talent doesn't run in the family. And Celestine goes in and she plays her Pokemon, and she ends up winning, and it looks like she won fairly quick. And Josh was like, you crossed the line. He's like, this is family. We don't bring family into this. And Celestine's like, you know what? Whatever. See you in the finals, Ava, if you make it. And Ava is sitting there, and she's all distraught. And Josh was like, man, what are you going to do? And she's like, the only thing I can do, I'm going to play my heart out. And if you would have just saw what I just did right there, luckily this ain't a video podcast.
Jiminy cricket.
So
oh boy,
we go through another montage, and Ava is just winning, and she's winning, and she's winning, and the montage just showing her, and she's just beating everybody with her Oddish. And as she's doing this, I'm going to switch it over to you in just a second, bro. And Ava is looking at Celestine, and Celestine is winning as well. And Joshua runs over to Ava, and it's like, in the finals, it is Ava versus Celestine. And Ava's like, oh boy. So from here, I'm going to switch it over to you, my brother.
So, the crowd's cheering, and they're up on stage, and Tonio is sitting with Joshua and her dad, and Celestine's like, they're not here for you. They're here for me because I'm undefeated. He was just shuffling the cards. And she's like, they're hoping to see me lose, but that's not going to happen. And she's just calm, and she's just getting a steely look on her face. And then we're back in the forest with Oddish and three Pokemon, which I'm assuming were Celestine's cards, and Oddish is kind of looking, frightened, and we get that flash of the Ms.
Miss Magius.
Yes, we get that transition again, and so we flash back to real time, and it seems like Celestine made quick work of the first game, and Joshua comes up to the stage like a cut man in a fighter's corner, and he's like, "She's just trying to psych you out. Deep breaths. Remember to have fun." And Dad and Tony are sitting there, and she's like, "All right, I can, hey," and we're back in the forest, and Oddish is staring down, and Oddish is joined by a Spoink and Tropius. So it's 3-on-3, and the Spoink jumps up on the Tropius and fires towards the Dust Skull, and then Oddish comes in with a tackle, and Skull gets knocked back, and it's pretty much it's all out, animated warfare, and announcer's impressed. He's like, "Oh, that's a strong attack," and we see that Ava ties it up, so it's one game apiece, and it's going to come down to the final decisive third game, and Celestine's sitting there like, "That's impressive, but I'm not going to hold back anymore." And the announcer's like, I hope you're on the edge of your seat, folks, 'cause we're into the final round. And Celestine's got her feet on the table. She's still calm. And, they're going back, and there's a Gloom face-to-face with a Dust Skull, and, Spoink's jumping around. And the announcer's like, "This is it, folks. We're down to one prize card apiece," and it's Gloom versus Ms. Mapheus, and pardon me, Celestine's sitting there like, "You want to know my secret?" And she's like, "Weaknesses. Everybody's got one." And she moves her card in. And she's like, "If you want to win, all you got to do is find it." And she's like chuckling because she thinks she's got, Gloom all hemmed in. And she's throwing hit points. And Dad's sitting there like, "Does Ava have a shot?" And Joshua's like, "It's not looking good." He's like, Celestine has trapped Ava, and I think Ava's out of moves. And Ava's kind of sitting there looking at her cards, and she's looking at all the kids looking, and she's either going to pass out or something. And she can hear, people starting to chant her name, and all of a sudden, everybody holds up their coins, and Ava's kind of feeding off the energy, and little Oddish hops on the table and is like, "Remember, fun." And she looks down and she sees a Spoink, or what if it's not weakness? What if they're my strength? Kind of turning Celestine's words against her, and we see Gloom is still trapped, but Spoink is behind her, and we see Gloom evolve into Vileplume, break out of the restraints, and use
Stun Spore.
And she holds up a coin.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. That's not Stun Spore. That's Razor Leaf. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was going to say Hyper Beam, so I still would have been off. And she holds up an attack coin, and she's like, "This move only works if the coin lands on on heads." And the crowd's like, "Oh my god, she's leaving it down to a coin flip." And she flips the coin, and it's all dramatic and slow motion and Pikachu Pokeball, and poor Antonio just faints. He can't take it.
He's like, "Oh my gosh."
It lands on heads. The attack is successful. Ava takes the final game and takes the whole match, and the crowd's cheering. Everybody rushes the stage. He gets a Pikachu medal. Celestine stands up and walks over to Ava, And Celestine immediately flips, and I mean immediately flips. She's like, that was a blast. I haven't had that much fun in a long time. She's smiling, and she holds out her hand, and Ava shakes, and Joshua comes in and picks them both up in a group hug. And
that was awesome.
Dad's got a phone, and he's like, everybody squeeze in and say Cherry Berry.
This dad has some weird phrases in this episode, or in these episodes.
And that's the end of regionals.
Yes, everybody. So great second episode. And then from here, we're going to let you guys have like a 10-15 second break. We're going to get up the third episode, which is called Internationals, everybody. So go ahead, and if you're following along, which I'm hoping that you guys are following along, we are booting up the third episode this very moment. We still have our subtitles, and we are getting ready for episode 3. So you guys should have it up now. And I'll go ahead and start this episode. So I'm hitting play now, everybody. And we get the intro that we've been getting at the beginning of every episode. And it's titled Internationals. And we start off with Joshua trying to have Ava create a vlog. And Ava's like, man, do I have to do this? And he's like, yeah, do it for the blog. Tell the fans what you've been up to. And Celestine runs over into the frame, and she's like, don't tell me our champ in the making is camera shy. And she's like, all right. And so I guess a few weeks have passed since the regionals. And she's like, all right, the past few weeks have been pretty crazy, everybody. And then she's like, Joshua uploaded the clip of me winning the regionals, and it got a lot of views. And I'll tell you how many views that they said it got on YouTube. It said that it got 135,719,502 likes on YouTube. And she's like, everyone has...
That's unrealistic, isn't it?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And because she'll be up there with Taylor Swift and stuff with freaking views. That's a lot of views.
That's a lot.
So she's back at school, and she's like, everyone at school wanted to play me, and Josh was like, and she beat every single one of them. And Ava's like, well, I can't take all the credit because I got some pretty good coaches. And then they show an embarrassing photo that Joshua posted, and Ava's like, I can't believe you went and posted that damn picture. And Ava is like, and well, a few more tournaments later, and we're going to the internationals. And the dad, I'm gonna play this clip because this clip is fucking hilarious. But because this is literally me instead my wife is normally in the car, and I'll put on a Pokemon song, and the dad's like,
so you want to be a master of Pokemon, understand the secrets and have some fun. So you want to be a master of Pokemon, do you have the skills to be number one? Ha!
Ava's embarrassed in the back. Joshua has his eyes wide open. Celestine's looking out the windows like, is this really happening right now? And the dad just continues to sing, and we jump straight from that And then like 5 minutes later, the dad's replaying the song, and they're all singing and jamming to it.
We all live in a Pokemon world. Pokemon, I wanna be the greatest master of them all. We all live in a Pokemon world. Pokemon, I put myself to the test to be better than all the rest.
They're just going through this song. Like it is such. It just brought me back because that's literally me. Like literally. And when I was watching this upstairs before we were doing this review, my son upstairs was like, he's like, that's us. And he literally started singing the song. And I forgot that he knew this song. I knew he knew the original Pokemon song, but he started singing this song, and I was like, that really is me. So I must have been playing this song because he started singing to it. And then my daughter is over there and she started singing to it. I was like, okay, I must have played this song. And my wife's sitting there on the couch and she's like, yep. So we are now at the internationals, everybody, and we're walking in through the front door, and this place is so big. And then all of a sudden you hear, Ava, I'm your biggest fan. And it's this little girl. She looks like she's no older than like 4 or 5.
Ava, I'm your biggest fan. Oh, hi. I follow all your battles. I love grass-type Pokemon too.
Oh, sorry about that. She must have watched that video of you 1,000 times.
I'm even playing your Oddish and Friends deck. My deck? Good luck, Ava. I really, 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 really hope you win. Thanks for the support.
Ah! You're famous!
Behold!
And then all of a sudden you hear, behold, the shining light of Team Phalix, Edgar Troy. And this blue-eyed, bleach blonde hair little boy comes into the frame, and he has a little posse that's with him too. And they're like, line up, people, selfies on the left, autographs on the right. And then Ava's like, who is that? And Josh was like, man, that's Edgar Troy. He's the reigning...
Edgar Troy, dog.
He's the reigning world champion. And Ava's like, so he's pretty good. And Josh was like, let me break this down for you. And he actually did say that, everybody.
He did say it. He did. That time he did say it.
He's like, Edgar Troy is the head of Team Phalix. And he is the best Pokemon team in the league. He is known for his ice cold play style. And we get this nice, cool little anime of him looking all sorts of badass with some purple lightning in the background. And he's like, he even tracks his own heart rate. He doesn't follow the meta. He is the meta. And he's like, and the rest of Team Phalix follows right behind him. They're all Pokemon pros who playtest their decks to perfection. And we go out and he's signing autographs. And this little boy is too cool for school. And Ava's like, but we're just as good, right? And Joshua and Celestine don't even answer. And now I'm going to switch this on over to you, my brother.
So it's the next day, and commentators are welcoming everybody to the international championships, and the crowd's funneling into the room. And Ava's wishing Joshua and Celestine good luck, and they kind of split off, and Joshua's like, all right, victory party back at the hotel room. And Ava sits down, and she's playing, dude, and she's winning. And I mean, we like immediately flash cut, and she's back at the hotel room, and she's like, "Guys, I did it." She's like, "I made top cut." She, is immediately brought back down because Celestine and Joshua just splayed across the bed, looking completely dejected. And she's like, "What happened?"
What happened?
We drew Team Phalanx in the first round.
Their deck is tuned to perfection. It's unstoppable.
We didn't stand a chance.
Oh, Ava, how did your games go?
I need to practice more.
I got the snacks.
Thanks. Just add them to the pile.
So we cut probably a few hours later, and they're having some pizza, and Ava is playing Joshua, and Joshua's getting his ass kicked because Ava's just that good, and Celestine is looking at Josh's hand, and because Joshua's like, "I got nothing," and Celestine's like, "Yeah, she totally doinked you again," and Joshua's like, "You ain't gotta say it like that." And Ava's like, "Another game, come on, another game, come on, let's stay fresh." And Joshua's sitting there like, "You beat me 6 times in a row. You should relax and save your energy for tomorrow."
I think we're good. I think you're good.
And Ava's kind of sitting there, and you can kind of see a little bit of paranoia on her face. And she's like, "How can I relax when I have to face Team Phalanx?" And Joshua's like, "Oh, I know." And he goes to run out of the room. And he's like, "We'll be back soon, Mr. Ava's dad." And
being a responsible father.
Well, he's passed out. He's just got his little sleep mask on. He's about dead to the world. And they go out the door and they go up to the 30th floor, and they're outside, and it's just this beautiful, like, garden area. The birds are chirping, slight breeze is blowing, and she puts her box down, and they go running, and they're just like, "Yeah, kid energy, and they run to the top of, to the little the railing on the roof garden, basically saving them from being road pizza.
Just let it all out!
You guys are the best! Huh? Ow! My cards!
All of a sudden we see a Pokemon card float into their vision. And Ava's like, "Fuck, those are my cards." They all start whooshing by. And Joshua has a moment where he tries to reach over the railing, which could have ended very badly, but it's a kid's show, so he was fine. And we see all Ava's cards have been picked up except for one. Except for the OG, well, not the OG, because that's a foil, but except for the Oddish. That's the only card she's got left in her box. So Ava's dejected, right? Because, that's her deck, and those are her, original cards. It's not even that it's like, "Oh, that's the Oddish and Friends deck." It's like, no, these are the cards that I picked up when I first started Pokemon Club. So, they're hella sentimental.
Well, it's not even just that, but those are all of her mom's cards.
Right.
She's using her mom's deck.
Well, that wouldn't be good.
No. So she has a lot of OG cards inside of this deck. So it sucks. But all right. So she's like, my cards are gone. I can't even play. And she is just sobbing, everybody. She is just crying. And she's like, oh, we're not playing. We're trading. And they pull out all of their cards. And her friends, Celestine and Joshua, are like, you know what? Since you're already registered and you're in the finals, we're going to help you out. And Ava's like, I can't have you guys trade away all of your cards for me. That's not fair for you. And they're like, don't sweat it. It'll be worth it, right? He's like, it'll be worth it when you win. And he's like, all right, so now we have to find all of your cards. And I just want to point out that that Joshua has an OG Charizard inside of his booklet, and I don't know what he traded for it, but should have kept that card. Just saying, should have kept that card, because that card by itself could have bought all of these little cards that they were looking for. But I'm just throwing it out there. I was kind of mad when I saw that, and he got rid of it. But Joshua stands up. He flashes all his Pokemon cards.
Listen up, trainers! Pokemon cards for trade. We're looking for Ultra Balls.
Offering up a foil Meowth.
I'll trade ya. Deal. 56 cards to go.
And I'm not going to go through every single trade, but we go through a montage of all these trades that they're doing. We even get some guys that look like they're about to rough up Joshua for a second, and they're just staring him down, looking like a biker gang, and then they pull out their Pokemon cards. We'll trade you too. And Joshua's like, man, this is cool. So they're filling up the box, they're filling it up, and they're continuing all of their trades, and they're looking for the Darkrai, and they're like, anybody have a Darkrai? Anybody? And then all of a sudden you hear this little voice, and the little girl is like, I got it. And they look over, and it's her number one fan. And then they're like, oh, perfect. And you know what? I can trade you. And they open the book.
Nothing.
That's okay. I just want to help Ava win.
Is it really okay?
I don't think she'll take no for an answer.
Thank you.
We did it!
Trainers, find your tables. The next round is about to begin.
And it's at this point that we get a whole nother montage. And bro, I'm going to switch this part over to you, and you can take it from here, my brother.
So Ava's getting ready for her first round against one of Team Felix, and she comes out with her Oddish. And she's just putting in work, and the Felix grunt is like, man, and they shake hands. I mean, it doesn't even look like Ava was breaking it. Just meh, and
I lost.
And Ava's dad and Joshua and Celestine. And they're cheering. They're like, yeah, she's putting in work. We see like a montage of Ava's she's pressing all the right cards, and she's just putting in work on Team Felix. And you love how I get Team Felix and I blank on her name.
I know, right?
And, Ava's got a clear path. And then we see that she is facing the team leader for Felix, Mr. Edgar, and the commentator's like, welcome to the final battle of the Pokemon national championships. And, Ava's dad has the Pikachu hat. And Edgar Troy. I was half there, boy.
and they're like, well, her dad must be a stay-at-home dad, because you could clearly tell when the mom's not even there. So the mom stayed back because she got work, and this dad is just there for everything.
I agree with you, but do you think that there could be like some past trauma with obviously maybe we as viewers don't know that yet, but could there maybe be some past trauma with the card game with the mom?
I mean, she's watching it. So, if she's gonna watch it, and if she could be there, I would think she would be there.
That's fair. She does have it on her computer here.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of foreshadowed that. So yeah, they're about to battle, and Doug, I'll let you finish, but the mom boots up the match, and everyone's getting ready to watch the finals.
So, they obviously refer to Edgar Troy as the returning champion, and they call Ava the viral sensation because she's come out of nowhere and she's taken the Pokemon trading card game by storm. And, she shakes hands, and she's excited, and I think she's still operating like she's happy to be here. And Edgar's like, oh, well done making it to the finals. And he's like, I've crunched the numbers, and your deck has a 72% fail rate, which isn't good. And
it's not good at all.
Ava's like, well, I was strong enough to beat your team. And
which she's not wrong then.
And Edgar's trying to be confident. He's not even looking at her. He's like, you got lucky, but your luck's about to run out. And Ava's like, your confidence. And she's got all her cards in front of her, and she throws out her first round of Pokemon, and Joshua's hyped. He's like, that's a dream start. And friggin' Edgar's, he's like, he's not even bothered. He's like, I'll scoop. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first watched this, I had to I paused it, and I was like, obviously, he just picks up his deck and concedes the game. And I was like, I did not know that was a phrase. I did not know.
But I think he, as we know, he was basically setting up for something more. He didn't have a good hand. He's like, you know what? It's not even worth going through all of this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and concede, and we will pick this up in the next battle.
Which, you kind of respect that, because it's like, so it's a three game match. If you get a bad draw from the outset, there's no point in banging your head against the wall if you know from jump you're going to lose the point.
Yeah. And to be honest, that is an option in the game. So if you're playing someone, like even in the online version, if you're playing someone and you don't have the right cards in the game, you can concede and then just give up and go find someone else to play, and hopefully your next hand will be a lot better.
Oh, trust me, as an online Madden player, I know if somebody walks up and down the field on me on their first drive, and I come out and I go 3 and out and I got a punt, I'm like, I can just quit and just go back, and I can find somebody else to play.
Oh, you quitter! You're.
Oh, it doesn't count against you, and I'm not trying to be frustrated for 3 hours. I'm trying to win a couple games.
Oh, I'm not gonna win this, quitter. Like you can go in there and play the rest of the game, and who knows, you might turn that shit around.
I'm not trying to have somebody put up 50 on me.
Well,
you can tell by
you're one of the best Madden players I know, and for you to concede, Doug, come on, I'm disappointed.
Now, if you think I'm that good, just think of how good that player is. If I know from jump, I've been beaten.
For real. But all right. So she's in the battle, and it's the guy ends up conceding, and it's 1-1.
And this is when we see that Ava's mom is at least watching or listening to the competition on her computer, and she's kind of like, yeah, and she hears that Troy Egger was able to counter, and then she's kind of like, and the whole crowd's kind of like fiddlesticks. And, of course, we come in, we're tied up on the final game, and Ava brings out her cards, and she attacks, and Egger's Pokemon takes a hit. We see, Scyther and a Rosella and Tropius. And you see Egger's got a nice little spunky Machamp.
That's Machop.
So, they're cheering. And, it looks like has got Egger on the ropes. But then we see that Ava's cheering section is sitting next to some members of Team Felix, and they're whispering, and Celestine kind of looks over. She's like, "It's a trap," and Egger he puts down a card, and Joshua sits up like the climactic moment at a horror movie, and he's like, Ava has to shuffle her whole hand into her deck. And we see Ava kind of in her head as her cards are systematically coming away from her, and it's raining, and she's like, oh my god, I might be fucked. And Egger kind of slams 3 cards down. He's like, how about this? And his Pokemon go on the attack.
And they just whoop some ass.
Yeah, they're getting mollywopped. And when the dust settles, find out that Egger has won, and he reaches out his hand for a shake, and then we pan over and we see Ava's dad and Celestine and Joshua, and they're just stunned. And the little girl is sitting there, and she starts crying like Chad Gable's daughter on Raw. And Ava turns away and starts to go down the stage, and Egger's kind of sitting there, and he's accepting the cheers. And, Ava's sitting there, and she's like, I'm sorry.
She does not take defeat well at all. Like, anytime this girl goes through and annihilates people, and I'm sorry, I know this is like a whole journey thing for her, but the girl lost her first match, and what'd she do? She went home and almost threw away her Pokemon cards. And then she comes back and she starts annihilating everybody, and she's perfectly fine. She gets her first loss in what seems to be like months. And she walks off the stage, and she's just, I guess she's mad, but she just sits there, and she just starts crying, and she's like, I'm sorry, everyone. And then all of a sudden they just end the episode. That's it.
Yeah, that was the end of the episode.
So and we're about to see how she really takes it in the next episode, because we're literally flying right into episode 4 now, and that episode is called Worlds. So I'm booting it up here for everyone in real time. Okay. All right. I'll start this one if you're fine with that one, bro.
Knock your socks off.
All right. So you literally start the episode, and the first thing you see is a Bulbasaur poster right up on the wall, and Ava just snatches it off, and you see her championship visor, and she snatches that, and you see her plush toy Oddish, and she snatches that, and you see a photo of her with Celestine and Joshua, and she puts that photo down, and she looks straight over at her phone, and it's like, new messages.
Hey Ava, missed you at Pokemon Club. Next message. No Pokemon Club again? We miss you. Next message.
Congratulations! You're invited to compete at Pokémon World Champion!
Message deleted. I can't believe she's really giving up. Quitting the Pokemon Club? It's a bit dramatic.
You should go talk to her.
And the mom just walks in. Ava's sitting on her bed, and she's just crying her heart out. And the mom just starts comforting her and is like, man, sweetie, I know what you've been through, and I have something to tell you as well. And then Ava's like, what do you need to tell me? And she's like, I used to be a competitive Pokemon player. And then we go to a flashback. And why they got to do this to us, bro? Like, they go back to like the 90s, and it's literally Ava's mom at a Pokemon tournament, full blown 90s visor and everything. And her mom, Ava's like, yeah, I know. And she's like, how do you know that I used to be a Pokemon competitive trainer? And she's like, why else would you have all of those ancient Pokemon cards? And her mom just gets
ancient.
What's up?
I almost turned the episode off. I was like, ancient.
Those are the best cards. People are still opening those cards to this day. But
for real.
I just saw Jason Page was on a live stream, and some kid was opening one of the original boxes that's never been opened, and he pulled a first edition Charizard worth $250,000.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right?
Holy shit.
I know. So that box just paid itself off.
I would hope so.
We go back to the episode, and Ava's mom is like, ancient? Oh, jeez. She's like, anyway, it was the biggest battle of my life. He's like, my friends, my family, my whole school, everybody was there. And it's just and we're back to the 90s video of Ava's mom. And it's now time for the trainer to put down his card. And he puts down a Pikachu. And Pikachu is like, man, I'm about to fuck things up. And Ava's mom, and I'm sorry, I have not really cursed like this whole episode, but that is literally the look that the Pikachu gave. It's just like, man, you have no idea what I'm about to do to you. I'm about to wreck your life. And the trainer comes back and we get the montage that Pikachu just defeated Ava's mom. Ava's mom was sitting there and she's looking at all her friends and she's like, oh no, everyone's booing her. And we're back to real time. And she's like, I never play Pokemon again after that day. Man. And then Ava's like, man, Mom. She's like, I was worried because I didn't want you to get hurt. But seeing you play, well, it gave me hope again. It's like, you made me remember what the game is all about. It really looked like you had a lot of fun out there with your friends. And Ava's like, oh, Mom. And they're having a little moment there. They're hugging it out. And Ava's like, Mom, you know what? I have to go. And then all of a sudden, we're back at school, and we get a close-up of the photo that's sitting on her desk. And we're now live back inside school in Joshua's locker, and I'm going to switch this over to you, my brother.
So yeah, we get a shot of the same picture, and Joshua's about to close his locker when he sees a Pikachu origami figure, like the one that he gave Ava all the way at the start of episode 1. And we see that he and Celestine got the same figures, and they kind of look at each other and they have a moment, and they go up to the roof of the school, and there's Ava sitting on an air conditioning unit.
She should know to not be
look at each other.
Roofs anymore. She lost all her damn cars that way. Just saying.
For real. Talk about not learning from your past experiences.
Well, it doesn't look like she brought her cards there this time.
So she at least learned that much.
Yeah.
So Joshua and Celestine sit down. Well, Joshua sits down. Celestine just kind of leans there because she's, too cool. And that air conditioning unit's probably filthy anyway.
I know. Dusty.
I'm saying. And, Ava kind of goes into her backstory.
When I moved here, I didn't know how I'd fit in. Until I met you, Joshua. And then I went to regionals, and I played you, Celestine.
So what's your point?
Well, I won, and we became friends. And eventually, all I cared about was winning. When I lost to internationals, I thought I lost everything. You guys even traded away your sick binder cards, ultra rares, full arts, one-of-a-kind promos, just for me to lose. But then I realized it was never about winning. It was about us. Sorry, it took me a while to realize that. So, that's why I've decided I'm not going to Worlds.
What? What are you talking about?
I'm not going without my friends.
Woohoo! We're going to Worlds!
You almost had me there.
I missed you guys.
You know what? And I'm just gonna throw this out there, and I know it's not really a part of the episode, but how mad would you have been that you just gave up all of your Pokemon cards for Ava, and she goes up there and she loses, but not only does she lose, she stops talking to you for a while. And you gave up all
I'd be pretty pissed.
And he didn't even have, it didn't even look like Joshua had his Charizard anymore.
Oh. Didn't even think of that.
Just saying. He gave up his damn Charizard. That's friendship. I mean, I love you, bro. But I ain't giving up my damn Charizard unless it's life or death. And like, if you're gonna die, and they said, boy, he won't die. you give that Charizard up. I was like, well, I got another Charizard. No, it has to be that Charizard. Does it have to be this Charizard? Well, bro, he has like a minute left. Make your choice. Fine. Here. They do the little thing, and they have to like pry it from my hands. Give me the card, dude. He has 20 seconds. Fine. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, the fuck was that? You gave me up to 15 seconds left.
Your wife be sitting there just staring a hole in you the whole way home. Really? You had to cut it that close?
It's a fucking cardboard.
Wanted that cardboard.
I wanted that cardboard. You know what I had to do to get that cardboard? You don't want to fucking know. Okay, all right. But back to the episode. All right, you can continue, bro.
So Ava's like, so I have decided that I'm not going to Worlds, and she's kind of smile on her face, and she's like, and because Joshua and Celestine kind of were like, what do you mean you're not going to Worlds? What are you talking about? And she's like, I'm not going without my friends. And she's got she's got a tiny Jolteon and
Mischievous and Jolteon.
And she holds them out, and they're like, and Joshua's like, we're going to Worlds, and he's like geeking out, and Celestine's like, oh, you almost had me, and they hug, and it's it's all sweet, and I missed you guys, and they have a moment, and then the sun's setting, and Celestine flips one of those Pokemon coins, and we use that as a transition to
World.
Them already being they're already there. It's like, okay, we seriously only have like 8 minutes left here. We kind of got to hustle up. And Celestine's like, come on, it's about to start. And they're on the table, and they're on the gaming floor, and you got like 6 screens, and the commentator like, welcome to the Pokemon World Championship, and they're taking group photos in front of a Pikachu, and we actually see that the mom made this trip, and the dad's got a Magikarp hat, and mom's got an Oddish hat.
That's not a hat.
I feel like they should all have Oddish hats.
I'm not a bandana. Headband.
Bandana.
Headband. My bad.
Okay. Headband. You're a bandana. So, we're kind of in awe of everything, and we see
the lights on the stage are all bright.
Lights on the stage, and then they turn around and they're immediately met with Team Felix.
Oh, it's you. Most players don't come back after I've eliminated them.
Save it, Troy. I'm here to have fun with my friends.
Fun? Listen, Ava, I'm here for one thing. To prove I'm the best player in the world. Fun has nothing to do with it. I'm gonna need you to bring your A game. Better than what you showed at Internationals, so I can crush it in front of everyone. You're going to eat those words, Troy. Until we meet again.
The commentators calling all trainers to be ready, and talking about hundreds of the best players from around the world. A big ass bracket,
and that bracket goes on. You can see how many kids. So they're at Worlds. Everyone, these are the best Pokemon card trainers in the world. and they're all competing in this real big tournament. And if you lose one battle, you lose it all. And you just look at the board, and Troy is going up, Ava is going up, Troy's signing autographs. If you didn't guess it, we're in another montage of Troy and Ava just kicking ass and taking names, and they're just going and going and going. And you could tell this took a few days because they're back at the hotel, they're brushing their teeth. Ava and Troy are entering again, and now it's down to the finals, and it's Ava versus Troy. And the announcer's like, this is the finals in the Pokemon World Championship. Everyone's cheering them on. Ava's dad has a Pikachu hat now. He's spending all of their life savings on all of these Pokemon hats. And people at her school are watching. Her number one fan is watching on the TV, and the announcer's like, "It's Troy versus runner-up Ava." And she goes in to shake Troy's hand, and Troy's like, "Yeah, you're gonna need it." Just slow, fucking. And
burn snap.
I know. And it's time, and this one we can kind of go blow for blow, where towards the end of the episode, Ava has chosen Oddish, and Troy has chosen Phalanx. And Phalanx is on the field, and Oddish jumps away. We're in an animation thing where we're seeing real Pokemon as they're using the cards. And Oddish kind of blocks a shot from Phalanx and does Razor Leaf first, but Phalanx blocks it, and Phalanx is powering up for a counter, and then Phalanx is gone. And Troy is like, scoop, I'm taking my Phalanx back. And Troy literally throws the first match, and he's like, Ava's like, this again, not again. And Troy ends up throwing the first match, and the first match goes to Ava. So it's Ava 1, Troy 0. And everyone's looking around. They're like, is that a good thing? And Team Phalanx is looking on. They're like, yeah, he gave her the first one, but now he's going to come back and he's going to whoop her 2-1. And Troy's like, let's keep this moving, shall we? And Ava's like, you know what? And then we get Ava to throw in Scyther as Scyther versus Machop. And Scyther ends up beating Machop. We get a Hikumara versus Scyther, and Scyther defeats Hikumara. And then we get Phalanx, and Phalanx is put down, and he has a team of Phalanx that he ends up putting down, and Troy is like, team attack. And all the Phalanx goes in, and one by one just blows down all of Ava's Pokemon. And the announcer is like, and the second match goes to Troy. And Ava looks up and she's like, no, not again. Not again. And then, bro, I will switch this part over to you for you to do towards the end of this battle.
Once again, we're down to the decisive third game in the match, and Ava's cheering section is nervous, and Ava looks determined. Edgar is kind of like, it's just Tuesday. And we find out that Ava's literally just down to Oddish. Just no backup, no nothing. And Edgar kind of looks over to his grunts, and they start kind of doing a stomp cheer kind of thing. And we see Ava's Oddish just kind of looking around nervous. And from the distance, we see a
Groudon.
Yeah, I was gonna say I caught that fella in Ruby. I should know what it is.
Unbelievable! We have Groudon in play!
I pass.
Oh no. Ava drew a bad hand.
And she's got no Pokemon on her bench.
Which means Edgar just has to take out Oddish, and it's over.
I pass.
Edgar's kind of like ho-hum, and she kind of looks over at her cheering section, and they're still trying to be positive, thumbs up and what have you. And Ava kind of gets this look on her face, and then
she remembers her.
I guess we're kind of. Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess we're kind of in her head, and then a cute little Oddish pops up on the table. She kind of smiles, and she kind of a little tear comes to her eye, and she starts just laughing. And she's like, "Oh, you know what? It's not looking good for us, Oddish." And Oddish is dancing because it doesn't know any better. And Edgar's like, "Oh, that's it. She's lost her mind. That's it. We've cracked her." And Joshua kind of whispers to her mom. She's like, "What is she doing?" And her mom's like, "Oh, she's having fun." And Edgar's kind of getting frustrated. He's like, "What's wrong with you?" And Ava's like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just playing the game I want to." And Edgar's like, "Yeah, well, you're playing poorly." And Ava's like, "Oh, that doesn't really matter. I don't need to win to be happy." And she's kind of flashing back to her early days in the Pokemon Club, and defeating Celestine and rocking out in the car on the way to internationals, and hugging her mom, and she's like, "I am happy to be playing amazing opponents like you." And Edgar's like, "You have got to stop talking." And
he's like, "I'm trying to concentrate."
And Edgar's like, "I have one question for you." He's like,
Stop talking. Just one question, Ava. Why play if not to win?
He's done it! Edgar Troy plays a supporter, allowing him to draw 3 cards. Just one more turn, and Edgar wins it all!
I'm playing because it's fun. But winning wouldn't be so bad.
Ava plays a stadium card. Her Oddish powers up, but is it enough?
This is funny because in real life, this would be overkill. You got a freaking Groudon getting ready to literally burn the mess out of an Oddish. It's not even a Gloom, let alone a Vileplume or a Blossom. It's a freaking Oddish. This is like overkill. Like,
yeah.
Groudon, all he has to do is just step on the ground and he could burn everything around him and just kill this Oddish. But that's not the way the card game works.
And we still have 2 minutes left in the episode, so we got to stretch,
Not even.
And
part of this is credits.
And Ava kind of gets a little sly smirk on her face, and she's like, winning wouldn't be so bad. And
she
puts down
a stadium card.
A stadium card, which kind of counters the fire effects into, like, flowers and grass and shit. And then we see that Ava plays a rare candy card, which then evolves Oddish all the way into a Blossom. And the spirit of Blossom have a little fist bump moment, and the freaking commentator's going crazy. He's like, I don't blink my eyes. And Ava's cheering section, they like get on their feet. And then we see that back foot, he's like, I can't do anything. And Ava kind of whispers, I suppose just so they could hear, but I don't feel like that's going to work because they're on headset, but it's a nice moment. He's like, or she's like, Hager, just play your heart out. And I mean, she's not like talking smack. She literally just, she's like, forget about the game. Let's just play, let's just play the game. Don't worry about winning or whatever. Just play. And something kind of, I don't know, snaps or like falls into place with Hager, and we see that Blossom is kind of running circles around Groudon, and Hager legitimately laughs, like not like cocky, but like he's into it. And he's like, all right, let's do this. And we see Groudon is unable to kind of pin down Blossom, and Blossom's just kind of doing whatever she wants to do, and Groudon's like, how about some fire? And the commentator's like, oh, that was a devastating attack. How will Ava endure? And Groudon's kind of looking around, and we see that Blossom is charging up what I'm gonna guess is Solar Beam, yeah. And the screen is kind of engulfed in the attack, and when we come back to reality, we find out that was the knockout shot, and Ava is a world champion.
She won!
Good game. That was fun.
The organizer of the league or whatever, or the head of Pokemon trading card division or what, he's not identified.
No.
It's just a guy. Like, he hands her a trophy and they bow to each other, and the spirit of Blossom gets on Ava's shoulder, and Ava's kind of looking, and she sees the crowd cheering. She sees all the people who are there have their spirit Pokemon as well.
And then it's over.
I mean, that's it. Like, that's it. I mean, we literally see everybody's spirit Pokemon. And
it's a happy end.
Eva holds up the trophy, and I mean, it's. I mean, I'm gonna say it. I mean, you might roll your eyes and say, "Oh, you're reading too much into it." It felt like a rushed ending.
It was.
I mean, it's a good ending. It's a great ending, but it just kind of felt like, and it's over.
Yep. You're not wrong. But yeah, that was it. So, bro, what would you give each one of these episodes, and then what would your final score be for all 4?
Yeah, episode 1. I would probably give, I would say, a steady maybe 2.5.
Okay.
Episode 2 is probably a 3. Episode 3 is probably 3.5. I would honestly say episode 4 is also a 3.5. So I would comfortably say,
so around about a 3.
Yeah, I would say 3. I would be happy with that as a whole for the 4 episodes.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I was gonna give episode 1, 2, and 3 a 3, and then episode 4 a 4, rounding it out to about a 3.5 average for all of it. So I'm gonna stick with a 3 because I'm not sure what that would end up entailing. But yeah, I would give this about a 3. It was good. Very, very quick, very easy to get through. I hope all of you were following our review as well. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I do not regret veering off real quick to do this.
It really explained the card game more than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, and kind of and it does its job. When I was watching this with my son, my son literally said, "This makes me want to play the Pokemon card game," and then he went and he downloaded it onto his tablet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it did its job. So,
yeah, it got another player.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not disappointed in this at all. Does this bring back memories and make you want to play the Pokemon trading card game, Doug?
You know what? If somebody said, hey, let's break out some packs and let's try to see if we can get some decks together, I don't think I would be against it.
Okay. All right, cool.
Because
would you download the app and play?
Oh, probably not.
Okay. No,
I'm just a busy man.
I used to have it, but it got to be a little pricey for me to try to keep up with it, and sad to say, but you don't get the best cards unless you're opening a lot of packs on the game, and it takes money to really unlock some of these cards because, Pokemon's a lucrative company. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, with everything, it's like the bottom line is it's a business.
Yep. So, but yeah, thanks for getting on with me to do this, Doug. This was great. We will be back. You know what? I'm going to say we'll be back in 2 weeks. Because our next episode is most likely going to be a Poke break before we get back to another regular review. Would you agree with that?
It's about that time.
Yeah, it's about that time already.
Holy shit.
I know, right? So, yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to take about a week break, everybody, to give you guys a little bit of time to kind of collect your thoughts and everything, listen to some episodes, get caught up, because I know most of you, like 90% of you, haven't listened to all of our reviews. So go back, listen to some episodes, maybe listen to a movie review, and we'll be back in a few weeks. Go ahead, and if you don't have anything else to say, you can go ahead and give your goodbye, Doug.
Bye, Doug.
And this is Professor Chris G telling all of you we will be back and we'll be bringing a Poke Break with us. And then we'll be getting back into some more reviews for you for another month. So have a good night, everybody.